Hello, this is Old Crow Balthazar, and welcome to Balthazar Strategic Arcana. So we're going to be doing a series with a mod for Strategic Command World War One. It's called the Balkan Variations Mod, and this is a mod that's primarily been created by MD Small, with contributions by me and quite a few other people on the Matrix forums, suggestions. Mostly it stemmed from the beginning of an issue called the Montenegro Gambit, which turned into be kind of an exploit. Well, eventually we realized as we tested this separately, and they can be read on the Matrix forums, the Strategic Command World War I forum, particularly the War Room, where there was 2 tests done between me and a fellow named Bavary. Test 1 and 2, Montenegro Gambit, test 1 and 2 anyway. And then a huge discussion on the forums. Original poster was Chernobyl. It was about taking down Montenegro in 2 turns. Quickly realized after tests that there was other problems, mainly dealing with the Balkans. And there had been a lot of other parallel questions dealing with if Serbia was taken down quickly, and how easy it was for the Central Powers to roll into Greece and take it out. Now, we all were kind of mindful that the Entente didn't get into Greece until 1916, and that was about the time that Serbia fell. And they got in through Salonika to try to save the situation, save the Serbs, and at least save the Aegean from falling to total Central Powers domination. Well, there's some real ingenious folks that figured out a way of taking out Serbia in 1914. And then they could just roll right into Greece. The other issue that came up was the ease, if you want to do a Russia first, and the ease, especially if it was tied in with Montenegro and Serbia falling quickly, pinching off Russian Poland. And the first 3 or 4 turns of Russian mobilized units that would show up in Poland would not show up if were to be out of total bad position and be totally destroyed. And there was nothing an Entente player could do. So this test doesn't just deal with the Montenegro thing, even though it's a big component of it. It deals with issues dealing with Russia, early game Russia anyway, Greece, and there's even some fixes for the Turks. So anyway, I do have some test notes here. So I'll get out of this and see what we got here. So these are notes I got from Mike Small. And it says here, for one, I've got 2 pages to read here. So I asked for details of the mod, so it says, okay, here it goes. Surrender effects. I reduced to 0 the unit morale swing when an enemy country, major or minor, surrenders. That way, the CP does not get a morale buff on turn for conquering Luxembourg or on subsequent turns for conquering Belgium, Montenegro, or Greece. Frankly, if the game system would have allowed the surrender effect to apply only to the major that conquered the country and its controlling power, e.g. Germany and France, when Luxembourg surrenders, I would have kept it, but it is an all or nothing proposition. It seemed unbalanced to me. And it goes down to Montenegro and Serbia. Here, I start by removing the Sarajevo to Sichinj Railroad, as reckoned by yours truly, me. I also deleted the short stretch of track connecting Sichinj to Pec and Montenegro. This makes all the ports on the Dalmatian coast only 5-strength ports, both in AH and Montenegro, since none of them have a rail connection to a major power capital. This change was intended to make a takedown of Montenegro on turn 2 impossible, the infamous Montenegro Gambit. I moved the first Serbia's initial deployment from Karachevac to hex 18895, 1 hex due north. And I think there's a slight change in that because we already done a bunch of tests. We might have made Serbia a little bit too tough. So anyway, we're going to find out when we do this next playthrough that I'm going to schedule here pretty shortly. So the H units cannot cross the river and seize this key hex on the first turn. I increased the strength of this unit, and the 2 other Serbian frontline corps due west of it from 8 to 10. He's going to nerf that a little bit. We want to find a mean value between the vanilla version and what he did. So that is going to be changed. And we'll be finding out how shortly, because I'll be playing Entente. And increase the strength of Serbian cores at Uzins from 6 to 8. Now I think he's going to pull that back also. Also increase the strength of the initial Serbian general, Putnik, from 8 to 10. That also might be amended back down again. That I'm not sure yet. He hasn't sent me the newest patch notes. Patch for this mod, or version, the next version after the last one I did. These changes would tend to increase Serbia's ability to hold their initial defense line just south of Belgrade. Greece. We said that we wanted to create an incentive for the Entente to force an intervention in Greece earlier in the game from September 1915 in order to keep Serbia alive. So I wrote a new decision event which fires if Serbia loses control of Sejin, Pek, or Pristina, or if the CP gets within 2 hexes of Uskub. When this new DE fires, the French president is told that our, quote, our Serbian ally is in grave peril, end quote, and he's offered the choice of funding a coup d'etat against pro-German court in Athens by Greek Prime Minister Venizelos. The French say yes, at a cost of 75 MMPs. The British also say yes automatically, also at a cost of 75 MPPs, and Venizelos attempts his coup. If Venizelos succeeds, Greece joins the Entente immediately. A new 10-strength Greek National Defense Corps forms in Salonika, and the French convoy to Serbia now switches to Salonika, using a more secure overland route and with a higher capacity, up to 15% of French production. Interesting. If Venizelos fails, Greece joins the Central Powers immediately, and I think what he intends is the south part of Greece. The region in northwest around Salonika stays loyal to Venizelos and breaks away to form a new free state of Salonika, which the game engine refers to as the Free State of Danzig. We still haven't figured out yet a way, by the way, to change it to whether it was going to be northern Greece or Venizelos Greece. I'm not sure. And this was my idea. But he did all the scripting. The new Free State joins Entente. The National Defense Corps forms around Salonika colors, and a new convoy from France to Serbia starts through Salonika. Either way, both Bulgaria and Turkey are unsettled by this Entente intervention in Greece, and both swing 8 to 15% towards the Central Powers. So, yeah, I have seen Serbia fall before even Turkey gets in. So, if they are ready to fall and Entente and decides to do this decision, well, Turkey's going to want to get in because of an Entente intervention, but it'll stop Greece from being rolled. So the new decision event is a crapshoot for the Entente, but it makes things much more interesting in southern Balkans once the war starts to go south for Serbia, and it increases Serbia's chances of fighting on from exile in northern Greece, and Entente forming a Salonika front has actually happened in a later war. Now we have another note here. Could not fit the following text on Turkey in the last message. Turkey. Here I decided the map needs some changing around Gallipoli. I removed the non-existent town of Sed El Behar. That's good. I think Stockwell Pete actually had mentioned that and others. And the 2 coastal hexes on the Aegean north of it. In reality, the peninsula is much narrower than shown on the game map. Place Ottoman corps defend Sed El Behar with a 5-strength coastal gun that the Ottomans can play at the start of in the hexes around Chanak, which allows them to put the gun on Straits hex. This reflects a historic fort at the tip of the peninsula that had some coastal batteries, which the British and French navies took on at the start of the campaign. However, kept the port at the tip of the peninsula, as capturing the port is the only way the Entente can supply an invading force over multiple turns, as it happened in 1915. It's a fiction, but no bigger a fiction than placing a town there. Yeah, that's true. Also made the hexes on the north side of the straits hilly terrain so they're easy to defend. That's also good because the Turks dug in big time there, and they couldn't, Entente couldn't dislodge them. Finally, I moved the town of Gallipoli, which is a significant enemy objective 1 hex further east, so it can't be bombarded by ships in the Aegean. I gave Gallipoli a port facing the Sea of Marmara, which reflects that there was an Ottoman port on the north coast of that sea. This makes Gallipoli even more enticing target for the Entente to capture. if they can blow their way through the straits and fight it way up the peninsula. In the last patch, the devs gave the UK and France a starting amphibious tech capability of 1, plus moved it to Lemos DE to January 1st, 1915. So if these further modifications, I hope all the conditions are now in place to encourage the Entente player to try an intervention to open up the Dardanelles and eventually capture Constantinople. How this might interact with the Entente intervention in Greece remains to be seen. Yes, that is true. It remains to be seen. So anyway, those are the patch notes, and I'm waiting for some more. He did have to change the Russian decision because we did a test, and he didn't do a Russia first. And I got the decision event, and it was intended for the Russians to deploy units to the rear, which I use immediately to make a huge, massive assault across the Tartar gates against the Austrians. And what the intention was, and he's fixed it, is they have to cross the frontier at certain trigger places. And so anyway, when I get some more patch notes, I'll put it in. But I figured I'd go put this out before I start uploading our turns. For fog of war reasons, like in WA, I've got a game going against the Colonel and then one plan with Tanaka in this series in the future. I prefer doing at least 25 turns, two years, because of fog of war. It's not the fog of war will change, the on the ground change, but it's research. But for this test, we are going to play competitively against each other and try to, thwart each other's moves and see if there's any bugs or anything, which I haven't seen yet. Just a couple. We just need to fiddle a little bit. However, I'm going to talk to Mike about this, but I think that I will want to get our turns up pretty quick. So I'm thinking maybe 6 to 8 turns out, which is about a week and a half. And I'm going to be starting one today, which is May 2nd. So we'll see. So anyway, until next time, thank you. I'll be putting this on the top of a playlist with this test, which I will put up later. So anyway, thank you, and see you shortly on the battlefield. Okay. Later.